17 News prepares for President Trump's visit to the Golden Empire. The push to equip Bakersfield police officers with body cameras moves forward, and many are gushing over a baby gorilla born at the LA Zoo. She finally has a name. This is 17 News at noon. Good afternoon to you. I'm Alex Fisher. Right now, President Trump is making his way to Los Angeles. He is set to land at LAX in about 3 hours. Meantime, about an hour ago, another Air Force plane landed at Meadows Field to unload more equipment. You're taking a live look. You may remember yesterday a similar C-5 plane unloaded a stair truck. This all comes ahead of President Trump's visit to Bakersfield tomorrow. He and Congressman Kevin McCarthy will be talking with farmers about water issues here in the Valley. You can count on TV 17 to bring you the very latest on the president's visit as soon as it comes in. And the president departed Washington, like we mentioned, about an hour ago. This visit is part of a week-long tour of western states, which will include Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado. But before he lands in Bakersfield, President Trump will visit Los Angeles. He'll meet with the Los Angeles Olympic Organizing Committee to talk about preparations for the 2028 Summer Olympic Games, which will be held in Los Angeles. Then the president will hold a roundtable discussion with his supporters and attend a fundraising dinner in Beverly Hills. After he finishes up in Bakersfield on Wednesday, President Trump will head to Las Vegas. On Thursday, he'll talk about his administration's Second Chance program for inmates at the Hope for Prisoners graduation ceremony. Today is the last day to register for the March 3rd presidential primary election. You can register online at registertovote.ca.gov. You have to do it before midnight in order to participate in the election. You can also sign and return your paper registration forms at any available post office, public library, or election office. And make sure your form is postmarked by today, February 18th, in order for it to be accepted. All right, let's turn things over to Kevin Charette. He's in the Pinpoint Weather Center, taking a look at your forecast and some hazy skies out there this afternoon, Kev.
Other than some high clouds, that's about all we're going to see today. It's actually going to be a very nice, warm day for everybody. And you can see here on the visible satellite, it's being picked up lightly. And that is all we're going to see, at least until about Friday before we see some change around the area. Let's show you the current temperature right now. And Bakersfield is warming up nicely under these high clouds. This afternoon, again, we are expecting the 62 degrees in Bakersfield under a calm wind right now. And as we take a look right now at the hour-by-hour forecast, you can see here we will be right near 70 by 4 and then slipping back into the 50s by 8 o'clock this evening. And then for the Tehachapi area, sitting right now at 55 degrees under a calm wind. 9 miles visibility, and we've got a little bit of a haze through the passes, but that's about it. Upper 50s expected for this afternoon, but then a chilly night ahead with those 30s. I'll have much more in your forecast. That's coming up in just a bit, Alex.
All right, Kev, thanks so much. This week, the City Council will consider approving mid-year budget appropriations for the police and fire departments, including outfitting officers with body cameras. The city wants to spend $737,000 to buy 215 body cameras for officers later this spring. Last September, the Bakersfield Police Department teamed up with Axon Enterprise Incorporated to get body cameras for all sworn officers and all uniformed police civilian personnel assigned to field duties. The first phase of the plan consisted of 210 cameras. If the extra funding is approved by the City Council, all BPD officers would be equipped with a camera for the rest of this fiscal year. Meantime, the city is looking to spend $320,000 for 2 new fire engines. The city wants these in place by the start of next fiscal year, as the department is working to expand. They're bringing in 6 new engineers and 6 firefighters to serve as rescue squads and as backup for other firefighters. The City Council is also considering putting aside $822,000 to battle homelessness in Kern County. The bulk of the money would go to Kern County to help with expenses for its new homeless shelter on M Street. The rest of the money will go to support the city's new homeless shelter on East Brundage Lane. You can find more details about this and the whole mid-year budget report on our website, kget.com. And a reminder, the City Council meeting is tomorrow at 5:15 p.m. California plans to apologize to the families of more than 100,000 people it placed in Japanese internment camps during World War II. As Lonnie Wong reports, it was the largest forced relocation in U.S. history.
This picture is our family in 1942, just before we left for internment.
Les Uchida was just 5 years old when his family was incarcerated in an internment camp in Arkansas following the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Forced to abandon jobs, businesses, and homes, many never recovered. Les's dad was forced to sell his fleet of agricultural delivery trucks at fire sale prices.
He tried to establish the business when he came back, but a lot of people had lost their farms.
There was never any evidence of disloyalty or espionage involving anyone in the camps. Les's parents were born in the United States and dressed their son in a U.S. military uniform for this family portrait. The resolution apologizes to families for the state legislature's role in executing Presidential Executive Order 9066, establishing the camps. Les cites the findings of a presidential commission on why it happened.
Racial prejudice, war hysteria, and lack of political leadership. So there were a lot of people, not just politicians, that didn't speak up.
In 1988, Congress gave camp survivors $20,000 each in reparations. After nearly 80 years, the issue has surfaced once again. By all accounts, the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II was one of this nation's most egregious injustices. But while some consider it ancient history, others feel the episode is still relevant. The Florida chapter of the Japanese American Citizens League regularly supports anti-discrimination efforts based on race and religion, most recently supporting Muslim rights.
Our community has suffered the same type of discrimination in the past. It happens decades later, and that's why we say never again.
Now 82 years old, Les is a docent at the California Museum, often giving his insights to school children.
It should not be forgotten because it's really kind of a civics lesson for all generations.
Lonnie Wong reporting. The California State Assembly is expected to approve a resolution later this week. History has largely referred to the facilities that house the detainees as internment camps. But over the past several years, more people have started calling them concentration camps, noting that is how FDR himself identified them. Well, still to come, concerns over the coronavirus continue. The latest on the virus and what health officials are saying. Welcome back. The coronavirus epidemic continues to be a worldwide health emergency and now threatens to become a global economic problem as trade is increasingly disrupted. NBC's Bill Neely has more.
The 338 Americans who were evacuated from the Diamond Princess cruise ship to 2 Air Force bases in California and Texas today beginning their second day of quarantine. Only 12 to go, and among them the 14 Americans who tested positive but were allowed on that plane and back into the United States. For the Americans left behind on the ship, some startling figures: 88 new infections reported, bringing the total number on that ship to 542. Meanwhile, from China, new figures: 98 deaths reported in the last 24 hours and 1,886 infections. That's the first time in just under 3 weeks that the number of infections has been under 2,000. So some good news perhaps there. Apple, meanwhile, the world's largest tech company, becoming the first American company to report that its sales and therefore its profits are being hit by this virus. So the virus is not just a global health problem, it's a global economic problem too. Bill Neely, NBC News, Hong Kong.
All right, another warm day in the Golden Empire. Here's Kev.
Yeah, we're going to continue to warm it up here the next couple of days before we see a cool down. And you can see, other than a few high clouds, we're looking at a great start to the afternoon. Wasco right now sitting at 64 degrees and mostly sunny. Out in Fraser Park, you can see a few clouds, but a nice afternoon, the mid-50s right now. And then Golden Hills up near Tehachapi, a few high clouds in the distance, and we're right near 60 degrees. Bakersfield at 62, under a calm wind right now. We're not expecting much in the wind department. Overnight, we're at 46. Pretty close to the normal. Normal high today, 64, will be above that. And you can see valley temperatures all in the 60s. Into the mountains, we've got 50s, and Lake Isabella currently at 66, and we've got 50s and lower 60s out in the desert. This morning, we saw a little bit more high cloudiness, but that again has shifted off to the east, and we're looking at mostly sunny skies the remainder of the day. Down to Los Angeles, a few high clouds now pushing into parts of San Diego. Temperatures today right near 61 in Sacramento, 70 in Fresno, lower 70s in Los Angeles, and San Diego right right near 64. So a beautiful day all around the state, even the beaches. We're in Morro Bay today, looking mostly sunny, 65 degrees. We have a water temperature of 55 degrees, and high pressure starting to build on in here. So we are going to be looking at the mid-70s by right around Thursday before we see a cool down on Friday and a chance of some rain with the system developing out into the north and the west. And this system is going to be riding off the coast and then making a dive to the south. We're going to get the tail edge of it, but the models want to bring in some light rain into the Kern County area before it shifts off to the southeast. So just how much rain could we get with this system? Right now, right at about a 0.05 of an inch for the valley, and then into the mountains right around a 1/10 of an inch. We'll be watching these numbers carefully, but they've been sitting pretty steady since early this morning. Boy, we could use some rain. For the month of February, nothing in the gauge. We're down 0.75 of an inch. For the water year, sitting at 2.83, we are down an inch. Normally, we should be right around 3.87 inches of rain. Now, on the national front, we are tracking some rain, though, along the east coast, and you can see some rain moving through parts of Arkansas, Tennessee, into parts of Georgia, some heavy rain there. Eventually moving into the Carolinas as we go throughout the afternoon. The more west you travel, the clearer we get. Here's a look at the temperatures this afternoon. 36, a cold day in Seattle, 5 degrees in Bismarck, 21 in Minneapolis, and a warm day, no surprise, out of Florida. Jacksonville, a high of 82 this afternoon. For us, we'll call for mostly sunny skies this afternoon and 71 in Bakersfield, along with Delano, McFarland, 68 in Taft. Tonight we'll be back into the 40s for the mountains in the Kern River Valley. Beautiful day, lots of sunshine, 63 in Frazier Park. 60 in Tehachapi, and for the Kern River Valley, right near 70. 67, Lake Isabella, Kernville at 68 tonight. We'll be in the 30s and 40s. And then for the desert, mostly sunny and east wind 5 to 10. 67 in Mojave and Ridgecrest near 70. And tonight we'll be in the 30s to lower 40s. Here's your extended forecast, and you can see tomorrow sunny, 70, 75 on Thursday. Slight chances of some showers on Friday before that pushes out. Clouds may hang around on Saturday, and then by Monday of next week, we're in the lower 60s again. For the mountains, 60 tomorrow, 63 on Thursday. A chance of some light showers on Friday with a high of only 60, and then back into the 50s. And then Sunday, Monday, the winds pick up, and then Monday, a high of only 48. And then for the Kern River Valley, you can see by Friday, a slight chance of a shower, upper 60s, and then 50s return early next week. So possibly some light rain on Friday, and it would be much appreciated.
What do they say? Hopefully March comes in like a lion.
Let's hope.
Yeah,
it's right around the corner.
We really need some rain for the valley.
It'd be nice to get a little bit in the gauge before we end out the month.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thanks, Kev. All right, well, some big baby news in Los Angeles. That's where the birth of a tiny baby gorilla is being celebrated, just a few weeks old. She could play a big part in helping a critically endangered species bounce back from the brink. And we're excited to announce she finally has a name. NBC's Scotty Schwartz has more.
Just a few miles under the Hollywood sign, a little star is born.
Very alert, very bright, very curious, and she's only a few weeks old.
In January, the LA Zoo's Papa Silverback Kelly and first-time mom Gia welcomed a little girl to their animal kingdom. Her name's still secret until now.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
What is this sweet little baby gorilla's name?
Her name is Angela.
Angela.
Angela, yeah.
The little Angelino.
And little Angela's arrival is being celebrated far beyond LA. Her birth represents hope. Experts estimate the population of western lowland gorillas has been plummeting, with only 100,000 left in the wild because of poaching, diseases like Ebola, and mining operations.
What does this mean for the species?
It's a huge deal. I mean, we want to keep their numbers up. You know, they're critically endangered, so any birth, any addition is a huge celebration and just one more, beautiful life that we have on this planet.
Beautiful. I mean, and then it's hard not to get attached to that face.
Oh, I know. Yes, it's very hard.
And then, almost as if they could hear us talking about him, they made a grand entrance.
Yep.
And up there, is that...
So, yeah, here we are, Gia and the baby, yeah.
Just on cue.
And Kelly following right behind.
Whoa.
Yep.
Did you guys do this?
They do this themselves.
This is them just coming out?
Yep.
They heard us talking about them and they decided to come out?
Yeah, adorable.
Wow. Oh, man.
Isn't that amazing?
That is remarkable.
For the first several months of baby Angela's life, she'll stay safely in the arms of her mother. Western lowland gorilla females typically only give birth every 6 to 7 years.
She has taken to motherhood extremely well. She is adorable. She'll just hold the baby on her lap and gaze at her, and they'll just gaze into each other's eyes.
It seems like they have the same type of nurturing instincts as humans.
It have always been amazing to me to watch great apes with their babies, and then you watch humans with their babies, and there's so many correlations.
And never far behind, nearly 400 pounds of protective muscle, as Kelly keeps a wary eye.
He's a very good dad. He's had some very tender moments where he reaches down and like smells the baby or puts his lips on the baby. It's really very amazing to watch.
Angela's aunties, Evelyn and Rapunzel, also keeping watch.
Have you guys seen an uptick in visitors to the zoo?
We've seen little kids come with their little stuffed gorillas waiting for the baby to come out to see it.
A Hollywood beginning for a baby destined for a life in the spotlight.
It's just been about as perfect as if we had scripted it.
That was Gotti Schwartz reporting. I love going to the LA Zoo. All right, your Business Watch is after the break.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back. The Boy Scouts of America files for bankruptcy protection overnight as the organization struggles to deal with a wave of sexual abuse lawsuits. Millions of children have grown up as Boy Scouts, but now the scope of its massive sexual abuse scandal is drawing comparisons to the Catholic Church. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has the story.
This morning, the Boy Scouts of America has filed for bankruptcy protection after an onslaught of lawsuits alleging rampant sexual abuse of children for decades. Many of the roughly 300 lawsuits claim the organization knew it had a problem as far back as the 1920s.
It was damaging to their image and their brand, so they conspired to keep it secret.
Only the national organization is filing for bankruptcy, not the local chapters known as councils. Legal experts say that's a way for the Boy Scouts to try to shield those local groups from losing billions of dollars in assets. Jeff Williams is a former Boy Scout from Cincinnati who says a scout leader molested him when he was just 9 years old.
I think that the thing that bothers me most is they could have stopped it. The Boy Scouts does so much good for so many young kids. It's not a bad organization. It was run poorly.
Williams is not part of any current lawsuit because of the statute of limitations, but over the past decade, lawmakers in 40 states and Washington, D.C. have introduced bills to extend the time survivors of child sexual abuse can press charges or sue. The Boy Scouts bankruptcy filing mirrors what the Catholic Church has done. Some 20 dioceses and religious groups have sought Chapter 11 protection while they negotiate settlements with thousands of alleged abuse survivors.
What would you say to that Boy Scout leader?
What can you say? I want my childhood back. I want my adulthood back.
It changed your life.
It changed my life.
Overnight, the national chair of the Boy Scouts released an open letter and apology, writing in part, "I am devastated that there were times in the past when we failed the very children we were supposed to protect. The fact is that predators harmed innocent children in scouting programs, and for this, I am deeply sorry." The organization has also said it never knowingly allowed a sexual predator to work with its young members and has put new rules in place that make scouting safer now than ever before. The Boy Scouts organization says it's using the Chapter 11 process to create a victims' compensation trust that will distribute payments to abuse survivors.
All right, we'll be back after this. Welcome back. NASCAR driver Ryan Newman is hospitalized and in serious condition after a terrifying crash in the final lap of Monday's Daytona 500. Doctors say that while Newman's injuries are serious, they're thankfully not life-threatening. That's pretty miraculous given the horrific scene that played out in the final moments of the big race. Kerry Sanders has more.
To the inside, Newman to the front. In the final lap of Monday's Daytona 500, Ryan Newman had just taken the lead when he was clipped by a car from behind, forcing his car to spin wildly out of control. Crash into the wall, into the air. Newman's car flipped upside down when another car, unable to steer clear, slammed into him, sending his vehicle airborne. Newman's car eventually skidding to a stop and bursting into flames. In a shower of sparks, Ryan Newman comes across the line, fourth. Emergency crews rushed to the track, working quickly to pull the 42-year-old driver known as Rocket Man from his burning seat. We don't know the exact nature of Newman's injuries, but NASCAR says
he's in serious condition, but doctors have indicated his injuries are non-life-threatening.
This is not the first serious crash for Newman. His car flipped repeatedly, landing on its roof at Daytona back in 2003. But it was this crash at Daytona in 2001 that ended the life of the sport's biggest star, Dale Earnhardt Sr., who died on the final lap of the race. After that fatal crash, NASCAR beefed up its safety regulations, mandating head and neck restraints and improving car designs. In an incredible coincidence, a young driver spoke to me about those new safety regulations nearly 2 decades ago. Ryan Newman.
I really feel about 50 to 70% safer than I was last year.
This morning, Newman's fellow drivers sharing their thoughts on social media. Corey LaJoy, who slammed into Newman, writing, "Dang, I hope Newman is okay. That is worst case scenario, and I had nowhere to go." A spectacular crash at one of racing's most historic venues with a well-known driver who is lucky to be alive.
It was 19 years ago today that Dale Earnhardt Sr. died in a crash here, and the sport decided to add new safety equipment known as the Hans system. It turns out that that Hans system that Ryan Newman talked about with me 18 years ago may have been what saved his life in this accident. Kerry Sanders, NBC News at the Daytona International Speedway.
When we come back, lighting up the sky during some of the darkest days. More on this light festival coming up.
Welcome back. Residents of Copenhagen are brightening up the winter nights with a 23-day light festival.
I think you would enjoy this because I definitely do. Take a look at this. During the month of February, one of the darkest months of the year, people in the Danish capital can brighten it up by looking at illuminated buildings and light arts scattered across the city, or just take part in a light run. A green laser beam stretching about 2.5 miles across the city's sky will stay lit during the entire festival to remind people to leave their warm houses to visit the different displays on well-known bridges, buildings, and squares. The waterways in the city are also play an important role in the festival, and there are guided boat tours to see the installations. This is the third year the festival is taking place, and some 60 light installations can be seen around Copenhagen. The festival will last throughout February. Wouldn't it be so neat to go to?
Yeah, it's like a good time.
You went to something similar a couple months ago. Was it last year? In
Oh,
Paso?
Sincero,
Yeah,
yes.
Lights at
If you have
Sincero.
never been Lights at Sincero, you've got to go check it out.
Yeah, I think your story is on our website, KGET.com. All right, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here tonight at 5.
17 News, your local news leader, continues 24 hours a day on KGET.com and our 17 News app in the spirit of the Golden Empire. 17 News.